What up, everybody? It's your boy Pyro, and today we're checking out some Tokyo Shoegazer, their new album, Remains. Now, I know absolutely zero about this artist. I've seen it pop up several times on the website I use, albumoftheyear.org, and looks like people are pretty fond of it. It's shoegaze, dream pop, and maybe some noise rock, post rock, something like that in the mix. It's supposed to be kind of atmospheric. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm getting into. Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not sure exactly what I'm getting into. So I'm stoked to just kind of keep an open mind, check something new out. Let's dive in. 8 songs, 39 minutes. This dropped April 22nd, 2026, from Higher Hell Records, it looks like, I believe. Let's go. Pulse is the first track. See what's up. Okie dokie. So I have definitely not heard anything really quite like this. The vocals, I couldn't really catch any sort of like wording per se, but definitely tone, and it really painted this nice like it was almost like the dreamy atmosphere came from the vocals, and then you had the drive from the bass and the drums, and I really liked those two. Those were what were honestly keeping me interested throughout. But the vocals were just a nice like touch of beauty in there. I don't know how I feel about this track. I will say that. But that's normally how you feel when you're first kind of discovering a certain kind of music you've never really delved into. I don't think I'm going to put this in a playlist. However, when I say that, I do re-listen to this. I'm going to re-listen to this entire album, whether I love it or hate it. And I typically do that with all the albums that I check out. Granted, if I have time, my kids do they keep me preoccupied, but I normally get around to it. And on the second listen, I'll obviously be a little more accustomed to the sound, and then that'll be the real decider of if the song makes a playlist or not. But I'm still just giving you guys a heads up on my first reaction. I don't think it's going on a playlist, but it's definitely an interesting sound for sure. Wisteria. Wisteria. that intense kind of guitar riff there at the end was really sick, honestly. Really nice. And then throughout the song, while there was definitely elements here that I can already see I'm going to have a little bit of an issue with, like, being that this is my first album that's really kind of sounded like this. The sound, I think, is going to be a little samey for me just because I don't have the experience, nor, well, after your experience comes taste, right? I don't have the experience, so I definitely don't have taste when it comes to this. So it's very new, it's very different, but I really, really enjoyed this song. Like, the drums and bass again were just like really making my ears like happy. It was very solid. This one's going to go in a playlist, actually. I'm curious to see if it'll live on in the playlist, but I'm going to give it that shot for sure. I definitely like that one. But yeah, the really light noted guitar, like the really light guitar notes were really sick. I like those as well. But I do think my favorite part there was that very end bit. And the vocals here were really nice as well. The elegance to the vocals were really nice. Again, kind of painting more of a dreamy atmosphere. You could almost catch what they were saying, but not quite. But it wasn't because the vocals were back either. It's almost as if it's meant to kind of blend with the sound a little bit. So that's going to take a little warming up on me as well. But this is cool. This is definitely cool. The Reckoning. Okie dokie. So I like the drive on this one. The drums really kept it at a nice pace, and they had a nice raw quality about them as well, which was nice. The vocals didn't really do much for me on this one, and the rest of the sound just kind of blended together for me. I do like that it's a little shorter, but I don't think this one's going to go on a playlist either. That being said, I don't think it's a bad song either. It's just kind of right in the middle ground for your boy. We're gonna do the video here on this just to switch it up a little bit. There's one video on the album. I'm gonna risk it and go with it. Lately I've been trying to avoid doing this just because a lot of times the music videos, the labels like to completely block, and then if they see them used in a with the album, it seems like a lot of my album reacts are getting blocked, which is kind of stinks. I don't really care about the ad revenue or anything like that. I just want the peeps to be able to see it. But we're gonna take a shot here. We're gonna take a shot on this song, "Missing." Okie dokie. I like the sound matching with the music video. Like I thought it was really cool too with the music video. You're seeing like 3 or 4 different shots at one time, kind of transparent, right? And it just kind of fit the sound really, really well. So kudos here. This is going to go on a playlist. I love the vocals and the drums on this one. Those really stuck out to me. Definitely gonna put this in a playlist, and we are at the halfway point. So far, I'm enjoying my ride here. I know it's a little different, but yeah, this is fun so far. Looks like we have some longer songs here at the back half, which is typically something that kind of bothers me as a music listener. I can listen to long songs; they just typically don't last in my playlist. And I'm talking like 5 minutes or over. Typically, it's a pretty thin margin there, but we'll see what's up. Keep it open mind, of course. The first one's pretty short. Haze. Some feedback there at the end that murdered my ears a little bit, but there was like a interesting surge that kind of happened right at the end, and it really reminded me of something you would hear in black metal, weirdly enough. But it was just right there at the end that I noticed. It was kind of a, like I said, like a surge, if you will. And if you're new here, guys, I am not a musician. I am a casual music listener. I don't know how to play an instrument. Just keeping it 100 with you guys. You know what I mean? But I've loved checking out and just discovering new music since I was like a teenager. So, yeah, this is it's fun for me for sure. The drums here were really nice. There was some speed to them. Almost kind of reminded me of something you would hear in punk with the drums. Maybe a little slower, but an interesting production sound on them as well too. I don't know exactly what caused that, but this felt a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Intriguing though. Intriguing to say the least. This one might make a playlist. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. I'm kind of 50-50 with it because it did kind of blend a little bit for me with the rest of what we heard. Vega. This one made my ears so happy. There was some weird stuff, like there was a tinniness. It almost sounded like maybe a cymbal. That drove me nuts a little bit, not going to lie. But everything else, there were some interesting elements that I'm going to assume. I'm going to go out and assume here that those are dream pop elements that are kind of coming in here and there. And I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. Then you have like the lighter notes on the guitar, which I really dug. And then it was kind of interesting towards the end. It almost felt like the guitar was kind of stair-stepping a little bit and just really helped shift the momentum, or at least give that that idea like to the listener that it shifted momentum just from the note change, which was interesting. I like that for sure. It's going to go on a playlist. Let's continue to New Dawn. This is where we're getting into some of these longer ones, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, and then the last one's 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Let's see what they do here. some really nice rawness on that guitar, or excuse me, the drum sound there. And I think it just really, like, obviously there's a lot of, like, I don't want to say dreary, that's not the vibe, but the atmospheric vibe that the instrumental paints, the drums clearly stick out from that, and it's kind of cool because it's gives this really kind of authentic feel. And again, like that, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of production or anything on the drums. They're very, drummy, I guess. I don't but they sound really good, and like that. I'm talking so much about the drums here because typically drums and bass kind of get left in the dust when it comes to my music taste. And in fact, there's times in a lot of music, rock-based music, I struggled to pull the bass guitar out of the sound and differentiate it. I've gotten better at it, but I'm noticing it here a lot. Like the bass really is popping, the drums are popping. Those are the things that are kind of intriguing me. And then with this song, I really kind of like this one actually because the vocals almost gave me a vibe of like the Cranberries. You know what I mean? Like that atmosphere, even some of the tones that the vocals were hitting here. And then the sound itself was a cool mix and match for that. So this will probably go on a playlist, actually. I kind of dig it. Remains. Final track, y'all. Final track. Drop in the comments what your thoughts are on the album. Love it or hate it. I'm definitely curious what you think. What you guys think. Okie dokie, guys. That is the album. That is Remains. Both the album and the song. Now, if you're new here, you're about to hear some nature loving, and if you're not new here, you already know what's coming. I love rain sounds, and oh my god, I want them mixed in with my music a little bit more. I just think that nature sounds don't really get played with enough when it comes to music. Every once in a while, I'll run into something that has some like dove coos or like, some birds in the background that just kind of add a nice bit of realistic texture to the sound. And, I love that. And here you got not only the rain sounds, but a bell. Oh, I might have to put it in the playlist just for that outro, honestly. I did think it was a little long. It was interesting. There were some nice change ups, but this one kind of ultimately blends a little bit with the rest of the album for me. Maybe on a few listens, I'll be able to actually, pull stuff apart that sounds a little different here. But there's some solid change ups for sure. A few startling change ups actually. But yeah, no, this was solid. I'm a sucker for those rain sounds, man. I'm a sucker for them. So let's talk about the album as a whole now. I will start with the cons and move to the pros, but I want to be straight with you guys. I'm pretty blunt and honest. I have a pretty rigid rating scale. Apparently that really bothers people. I don't know. Anything below a 5 is bad, in my opinion. Anything that's in the center, like 5-ish, we're either talking, I think it's mid. I don't really know. Like, this could easily kind of fall in that realm just because, I'm not really familiar with the genre and I don't know what to think of it yet. Or just kind of like, I don't know. 6 is good, 7's great, 8 superb, 9 excellent, 10 masterpiece. And of course, being that I am not a musician, I want to make this crystal clear. My opinion here is based on my own personal listening of stuff that I've listened to, and the little taste I have that I've developed over the years. And it's not a very broad taste. We're getting broad here in the last year or two, but before that, my taste and experience with music was not broad at all. So I just want to make that crystal clear. If I hate something, it's not the artist's fault per se. It's most likely my own fault. But I still need to be honest with you guys on what my preferences are and aren't, so that way you know me a little bit better. And also, I really, really despise the fake reactions content on the internet. Just be yourself, guys. You know what I mean? It drives me nuts. Drives me bonkers. So let's go cons first. I think the only con I have about this album is that it does sound a little samey to someone who's just dipping their toe into this genre. I have some typical complaints, but they're not really all that bad. I would love to actually hear what's being said, obviously, in the song, not to sound like some kind of old man. But on the counterbalance that, we'll get to that in the pros, right? We'll get to the counterbalance on the pros. I don't really have any other negatives, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I would have loved to kind of understood a little bit of what was going on there lyrically, or kind of catch. It was like, even when you were really hearing the vocals, it was almost there more so as an instrument, which I feel like I adapted to quite early on in this album, and didn't overtly bother me. I'm just saying comparatively to my personal taste, right? Let's move over to cons here. The vocals, I love the atmosphere that they brought to the table. Just honestly gorgeous. And yeah, I don't know whether they were singing in English here or if they were singing in Japanese. Language barrier didn't matter. It's all about the vibes here. Um, the drumming was freaking really impressive here to me. Like, kind of knocked my socks off a little bit. You know what I mean? Something I'm super picky with in my music. Sometimes a snare sounds too hollow. Fucking drives me nuts. But here, there was a lot of change-ups with the drums, sometimes a little faster pace, sometimes a little slower. The sound quality changed throughout. But I really, really respected the drumming on this. Was really nice. And then you have the bass guitar, or the bass, whatever. The thing was chugging, and I could actually pull the sound out of the instrumental, which was interesting. Because I really struggle to do that typically in my in other stuff that I listen to. But very impressive there, and of course this would be nothing without those vocals, even if I couldn't kind of get a grasp on them. The overall sound and cadence that they carried really help amplify the vibe that was going on here. And of course, when we're talking guitar, I was a little less impressed with the guitar here, but I think that's also because a lot of the guitar was probably being utilized in that. I'm assuming that's shoegaze, with a very kind of grungy, somewhat crunchy sound that kind of filled throughout. Kind of had a lot of distortion as well throughout. So I don't really know how I felt about that, but when the guitar did shine through with those higher notes, I really was loving it. So I don't have a whole lot of complaints here, but I am still a little bit standoffish of this album, just mainly due to the fact that I haven't heard anything like this before. So we'll see on a few, future listens how I feel about it. But I do think it's a good album. I am going to go with a 6.3. And let's do least favorite and favorite song. My least favorite track on here was the Haze, maybe? Haze or The Reckoning, one of those two. Let's go Haze. And my favorite track on here was, oh man, this is kind of hard. I'm gonna go Wisteria or Wisteria. Yeah, Wisteria. Or Missing. Between those, but if I gotta pick one, yeah, let's go Wisteria. Fun album, obviously. Go support the band. They are on Bandcamp. You can also add the songs to your playlist. Make sure you do that if you enjoyed anything here. But yeah, definitely support the artist, especially with all the AI trash that's been being thrown around quite a bit. It's not easy to be an artist. It was already freaking really hard. The industry made it really hard back in when I was growing up for artists, and now they're making it even more harder. And a lot of the common people don't seem to give a shit. So that stresses me out on a whole other level. But again, if we're supporting the artist, that's what's important here. But yeah, I want to hear what you guys think. If you're new to this album and you sat through it, enjoyed it with me, or at least listened to it, I'm definitely curious on your thoughts, whether good or bad. So please drop a comment. Just let me know what you think. I think that's it for me. I'm Pyro, and this has been a sound discovery. Shout out to Tokyo Shoegazer, and yeah, fantastic job. Wonderful atmosphere.